Tonight's topic will focus on how to survive in hard times. We have a couple of people with us tonight that we're going to be giving you some advice on how to save money and, how to get through hard times, because I know if you've been in debt before, or if you are in debt at the moment, it's a very, very difficult situation to go through. You get very stressed. Sometimes you can't sleep very well at night. You're constantly worried about it. It can even affect your relationships and, cause many, even health problems along the line as well. So hopefully on tonight's show, you will be able to get some advice to help you through this difficult time. And also, we're inviting you to call in the show if you have any money saving tips. Maybe you don't have financial problems at the moment, but you have some things, some things that you live by, maybe ways that you can save money that you'd like to also share with our viewers. So you can email us today on chris@chrissybshow.tv, or you can give us a call as well on 020-7686-6300. I'm just going to introduce our guest for this evening. Today we have Mariam Korsandi. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You did.
I did. Who is the Director of Find Financial Advice. And we also have joining us as well someone that we saw last week, wasn't it? Was it Wednesday? You're on the show?
Yes.
And this is Nikki Armitage, a leadership coach.
Yeah.
So how are you ladies both tonight?
Good,
Very
well, thank you.
So obviously this is a topic that does affect a lot of people, someone or another, because let's face it, we all need money, don't we? Mm-hmm. We need money, even though like some people say, money doesn't make the world go round, love does and all that. But at the end of the day, you do need money to get by. And if you don't have it, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking also about debts tonight. So I know, Mariam, this is something that you deal with. Can you tell us a bit about what you do, first of all?
Yes, we specialise in referring clients to financial advisors. And some of those clients are, unfortunately, in the current market, those looking for debt counselling and debt advice. Yeah. Debt's, something that's sort of come up more and more often than not in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. So it's just generally helping.
Why the last couple of years?
Well, just because of the financial crisis, there's redundancies happening, and it's just generally because of the financial crisis. There's a lot of unemployed people at the moment. Mm-hmm.
So you give more like the sort of practical advice on how to help and like refer people on to...
Exactly, primarily referring people on. But one of the main issues that generally faces people in financial difficulties is just not contacting their creditors. And more conversations that we're having with clients is, at the point of when you are experiencing financial difficulties, contact the creditor immediately. Don't wait until you've fallen in arrears. Because at that point, they're in the best position to actually help you and give you the advice that you need.
Why do you think it is that people don't actually contact... when they realise that? Do you think it's like they're scared? They're like, oh gosh, maybe I can handle it on my own?
I think it's a combination of things. Burying your head in the sand does come into it. I think people don't want to speak to their creditors. Mm-hmm. They're worried potentially about what the consequences could be. But absolutely the best thing they can do is contact them, because creditors are in a position to freeze interest on credit cards and things like that if you are genuinely experiencing financial difficulties. Mm-hmm. Just tell them what your circumstances are.
Okay. And Nikki, you deal more sort of with the emotional side of things, don't you? Have you come across sort of helping people get through like hard times?
Like
financial time.
So the things that clients come to me for are things like when they've lost their job, or they're they're on these sort of big salaries and now totally worried about what's going to happen.
They're on big salaries and they're worried.
Well, they were, and then they've lost their job.
I was going to say, I thought so they've got all this money and they're worried.
they've sort of, made redundant, or struggling to think about what the future holds for them. So they come to me with sort of feeling stuck and hopeless. Okay. So it's helping them through that time and staying focused and positive about what could be possible for them and how to get them through those tricky times. So
we've got some also, we're going to get into more of what you both do and how you can help our viewers as well a bit later on. But we've also invited people to email us about their money saving tips. And I think everyone has their own little things that they do, don't they? Like, for example, not to waste food. So some people have contacted contacted us here. We've got Sarah from Primrose Hill who's saying, I believe that people should not spend what they don't have. Well, I think most people know that, but it doesn't work, does it? If you are bad with money, then don't tempt yourself with shops where you will see clothes you want to buy or makeup or gadgets. Know yourself and know your finances. So obviously,
great advice.
But why is it that people do end up spending what they don't have? What do you think?
What do you think? It's
you can talk from a personal point of view as well, because
it's
I know,
good,
like,
isn't it? I think it's a feel-good factor, and shops spend absolutely fortunes to get us to spend money when we're there. So you know, there's a lot of money that they invest to get us, you know, to entice us into purchasing those products. So it's just being strong and you know, going into a shop and knowing what you're wanting and not sort of deviating from that. It's important.
I think the media has a big part to play in this as well, because, like, as you're saying, with the adverts, but also celebrities, you kind of see celebrities wearing certain things, and like they're using the latest expensive makeup, and you think, wow, I need to look like that. So you tend to think you need to spend a lot of money to do that, when that isn't always the case. You can, like, say, cut back on certain things. Not to say that you don't treat yourself, because I also believe that women especially should be able to treat themselves, but there's a limit as well. But I think we do get influenced a lot by the media, don't we? There's another one here as well. This one's from Marcus Taylor from Dalston. He's saying, don't stress too much about money problems. I just went through a divorce and lost a lot of money, but it was the least of my worries. It was the heartache of not spending time with my children and missing my old life that really hurt. So that's, you know, from someone that obviously, you know, losing money it does hurt, but there are much more important things, like those ties with your family, the emotional hurt as well. Do you ever?
Absolutely. Well, I think Mariam and I were just chatting about this in the before, and it's really interesting, because when you come up against something like losing a job, it's a really great opportunity just to think about what's important to you now, and reflect on what you do have. And I think that money, you know, being in a situation, if you might be in a divorce or health issues or whatever it is, it's like your whole priorities and values get clear, because you can just reflect and think, well, what do I need here? And Mariam was saying about, what were you saying? And something about, you know, when you're in this position, you can just completely money just doesn't matter anymore. You need to just focus on what's really important.
Yeah, you make the adaptations of what you need for your life, you know, and I think money does buy choices, but it certainly doesn't bring happiness. And I think it's, you know, understanding that, you know,
we're going to go into more, because I think that's a really, really important point for our viewers. But we're just going to go to a quick break. We're going to be reading more of your emails, and also we've opened the phone lines for you to share as well how you save money. Maybe you've been through a hard time as well, and you can give some tips to the rest of the viewers as well. Join us after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy Beach. So we're just having a girly chat during the break about stuff. So we've been talking about finances and how to survive in hard times, and we've invited you viewers to call in and share your money saving tips. And I think we have our first caller, which is Lisa. Good evening, Lisa.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. Did you have a tip to share with us then?
Yeah, one of my tips as well, like a typical woman, I love shopping, as we all do. And my tip is eBay. Because you can actually pick up some great high street designer and designer things for a fraction of the price. I remember picking up a Karen Millar dress that was worth £250 for £54, and I think it was like plus £5
really?
Postage and packaging. Yeah. So there's lots of different things, like places like House of Fraser do their season stock on there for quite a dramatic reduction, sometimes up to 50%. So there's lots of different places to go on there.
Lovely, thank you very much. It's just sometimes women have a problem with waiting for sales, they just want things as soon as they see them, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that most of your clothes you buy like on eBay and stuff like that?
Yeah, I like to do it both, and that way as well, you're kind of like mostly guaranteed to not have something that someone else has if you go to a party as well, which is always a plus.
Actually, I've got a friend as well that she actually buys sort of basic stuff, and then she knows how to kind of sew little beads and stuff and jazz it up, and I mean, it's like a unique piece, and for a really, really cheap price. So that's a really nice tip as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for your call.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye. So if you have a nice money saving tip as well, you can give us a call on 020 7686 6300, or you can email chris@chrissybshow.tv, because we could also do with saving a bit of money. Yeah. Right? So what's the point of wasting money if you can... Oh, we've got another caller. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, what's your name?
Christina.
Hi, Christina. What was your tip or have something to share?
By the way, I'm loving the show today. I mean, I really like the subject.
Okay, I think
saving.
I think it affects all of us, doesn't it, some way?
We all need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, my tip really, something that I do, is I go on the internet for everything. I shop online. If I know that I have little money to spend that month, I completely avoid going to shopping centers. If I need anything, I'll look it up online. I always find it cheaper.
Yeah.
Also, I look up also on the internet vouchers for restaurants, for all sorts of things. And I found out that I can find so many bargains online. I came across even a website, money saving expert, something like that. You find so many things there, and through this website and other websites, I found out so many rights that I have, and things that I don't need to pay that I usually pay for.
Oh, that's interesting. What kind? Can
but
you?
That's actually when I found out also I found out that I was entitled to some PPI, some money back.
Okay, that's a big thing at the moment,
isn't
it?
As well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you read through. I like to read about this because I don't have much money to spend. So it does help me a lot. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay,
really.
Thanks so much, Christina, for that. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many daily deal sites out at the moment that have, restaurant offers, nights out, cocktails and all sorts. So, you can really pick up some great bargains if you are doing what she's doing and going online.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, at the end of the day, sometimes people think, I'm in debt, I shouldn't spend any money whatsoever. So then they don't sort of have any fun either. And I think that actually makes you feel even more down. Because at the end of the day, we all need to kind of let off steam, go out sometimes, have some fun, even if you are on a really, really tight budget. And I think it's really important to continue doing that, but just maybe not to the extent that you did before. So, for example, I have a, I won't say what it is because I don't want to start advertising everything, but I have a card that allows me to have 50% off meals and or half price, one of the two, depending on how it works. But it's really good because basically my husband and I can go out for a meal and we can get a meal for like 2-course meal for like £20 or £15, which is nothing really. So, you can save a lot of money, but you still can have, that time to spend with your partner, to go out with your family, is something really, really important to carry on doing.
Yeah, I think the key there you mentioned is budgeting, and I think is knowing, what your budget is, how much you're earning, how much you can afford to spend, and actually keeping to that. That's really important.
Do you think a lot of people don't actually know their budget? Because
surprisingly, yes.
Yeah. It seems to be more often now when in the hard times, people are so much more focused on what they are spending money on. They're really enjoying what... I think, going back to the Second World War and when you're having rations, they said that obviously it was a hard time in history, but that actually was a time of a lot of happiness for people, daily life, because they were sort of focusing on the things, really enjoying what they could have.
Yeah.
So it changes your outlook a little bit.
How would you define hard times today then, would you say?
Well, hard times, I think... Hard times financially, I know that's the content of today's topic, but hard times can be, losing a job or the impact of that too, or having little money can be the impact,
And to change your lifestyle maybe.
It's an emotional, isn't it? It's the emotional impact of an event.
And it can lead to, if you're not careful and you don't still have the fun and you don't still enjoy life, it can lead to the more sort of depression or anxiety or things like that, and also fear of it not getting any better. So I think people can suffer a little bit if they're not sort of conscious about the future and staying
and
positive.
I think as well, hard times, like we're talking about, always seem a lot harder when you keep it to yourself, when you don't talk about how you're feeling. On both sides, actually, on the side of like trying to find a solution, like you were saying earlier, Marion, about, you know, talking to your creditors, for example, but also speaking to someone that's close to you. So you're a couple, you're going through financial problems, maybe it's something that you haven't gone through before. You know, it's something that's maybe come out of the blue. One of you lost their job, for example. And then if you shut yourself off from each other, that's the worst thing you can do, because you need to still communicate. You need to talk about the problem. Don't pretend it's not there. Because when you both do get together, you know, especially if you've got children involved, you can come to some kind of compromise. At least, okay, let's, for example, cut down on the shopping bill by buying like own brand supermarket brands, for example, instead of the usual. You can work together in some way to make, at least get through some of the times. But what happens a lot of the time, I think, is people just either, like, for example, if the man's lost his job, I know from some male friends I have, if they lose a job, they find it really like humiliating. You know, oh, you know, I can't provide for my family, even though the wife's working as well, for example. I can't provide for my family, because he sees that as his kind of thing, that he needs to take care of his family. But his wife's there to help as well. It's not like a embarrassing. It happens.
And it's putting things in perspective, I think. You know, losing your job isn't the end of the world. It is absolutely hard times, but you know, you'll get through that and you'll find another job. So it's just,
and it's not that they're not the only one that's going through it. Because I'm saying, my friends are working and I'm not working, but there's lots of people that have lost their jobs. So it's not just you. It's not a reflection of you as a person, that you're a bad person or you're not good enough. It's just things happen.
Yeah.
Right.
I think when you do also sort of reach out to people and ask for their help and support, so many people, like you say, just retreat and think that they are a failure if they, you know, because they've lost their job or whatever's happened. But if you reach out, it really can open up your connection with your friends and your family, and people want to help.
Exactly.
You know.
Okay. Now, Mariam, you were also saying earlier that there's certain debts that you should like prioritise first to.
Yeah, I think from a debt perspective, you know, pay off those expensive debts first. You know, things like credit cards, store cards, catalogues tend to be the most expensive. If you've got savings and your savings aren't earning you as much as your the interest that's being charged on those credit cards, you should really try and pay those off. You know, overdraft facilities, unauthorised overdraft facilities, those are the things that should go first. Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, I mean, if you pay the minimum payment on these credit cards, it could take you 10, 11 years to pay them off.
Something you don't want, right?
No, not for a pair of shoes you bought.
Exactly. Okay then. Well, just before we go to another break, now we did, as you know, every week we have a ladies that lunch section, and this particular restaurant that we went to does actually fit nicely with this topic because it was really good quality and very, very cheap as well. So take a look at this. Today we're visiting the Little Bay restaurant in Farringdon, which is a mix of European and Mediterranean food. Barbara's inside waiting for me as usual, so let's go inside and check out the food.
Oh wow, that looks lovely, thank you. Thank you.
Have you ever seen crab meat profiteroles? The first time I've ever seen them or I'm going to try them. I'm normally used to having chocolate profiteroles. These look really, really yummy.
This is avocado and prawn cocktail, but it's got salsa around it. This is a nice little cute parcel.
Gosh, that's massive.
massive, Barbara.
Oh my gosh,
Wow. Thank you. That looks lovely.
This is ribeye steak, and then I've got chips which are cooked in goose fat, and I've got some lovely veggies here. I'm not quite sure what that is. That must be potato. Okay. Yum.
I've got the duck breast in ginger sauce, and I've got the braised cabbage and some butternut squash as well. Now, one thing I love are big portions.
Yes.
But these are really big portions, which is really good if you have a big appetite.
These potatoes were absolutely amazing. I don't know what they did to them to make the difference, but they were beautiful. Really, really got a lot of flavour. And it's cooked in something, it's got like an outer coating to it.
Okay, so we have just enjoyed a fantastic meal here at the Little Bay restaurant. The portions are really big, the food is delicious, and one thing that I noticed, it's really, really great value for money as well, especially for a restaurant in London. And I'm here with Peter, the owner, and he's going to tell me a bit about the inspiration behind the menu. Hi, Peter.
Inspiration behind menu. I am chef by profession, by the way. Probably you didn't know. So I am with other chefs. So we do together create and try to make what the customers likes. And some of dishes even customers suggest. So
Where is the food actually from? Because it's a bit of a mixture, isn't it?
it is French based, but it's European mixture. So you can find Greek or Italian or French or something German as well.
So there's actually 4 Little Bay restaurants. You had one in Kilburn, one in Brighton. Where's the other one?
One in Croydon and one in Bathurst, which been burned, and we are redoing it on a moment. Everybody who comes to Brighton should visit Brighton one. It's the best design there.
Yeah, okay. Peter, thank you so much. Everything was really lovely. And if you do want a great meal for really good value for money, this is the place to come to. We'll see you back in the studio. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, where we are talking about saving in hard times and how to get through hard times financially. So let me share a couple of my tips as well. Now, one that I actually saw, before I get to my tip, one that I actually saw on TV once was how to freshen up stinky shoes. So if you have stinky shoes and you don't want to throw them away because maybe the rest of the shoes, sometimes the rest of the shoes are nice, right? And everything's fine, it looks all right on the outside, but then they're a bit whiffy. What I saw on TV is that you can get some cat litter and fill up your shoe, leave it overnight, and the cat litter will actually absorb all the smell and stuff, because that's how cat litter works basically, isn't it? So that's something you could try as well. Okay, I've got a caller now. Just a second, caller. I'll just get this one across as well. And also, I'm a great believer in not wasting food. Now, I used to waste a lot of food. I used to buy lots of stuff and then just have it there in the fridge. It used to expire, and then I would just chuck it out. Until a friend saw me do that, and she said, "Look, you shouldn't waste food. It's not good to waste food." And the usual spiel that people give about not wasting food. And because she actually lived in a really hard, I think she was in South Africa for a few years, and she really was on a tight budget. So she started teaching me how to basically, for example, with the chicken, don't throw it away after you finish with it, just make a soup with it. And I started to learn all these really handy tips. And something that I did just last night, for example, I had some leftover chicken. So I just made some rice, and I did a quick chicken fried rice. And that was the meal for the evening. So I didn't have to buy anything or go and get a takeaway. I had something there already. So you can save a lot just by, being careful with food and not wasting food. But let's go to our next call and see what they have to say. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Priscilla.
Hello, Priscilla. How are you?
I'm alright, and you?
I'm fine, thank you. Did you have a question, or did you have a money saving tip to share?
Yeah, the money saving. Actually, I have a problem of saving money.
Okay.
I always spend too much money buying clothes and all this stuff. But I bought a house now, so I need to pay. So I'd like to know what's the best way, to avoid the sale things and this.
To avoid the sales? Did you say
desire to buy stuff?
Okay.
Don't go to the shops. Stay at home is the best tip for you.
Difficult.
Pardon?
It is so difficult because you're walking on the street, you see like a lot of stores and everything. So when I go to work or when I come back,
it is. You've just got to think to yourself that these shops have invested so much money to get you in there. It's a game. Just try and walk past without going in there. And I think you just mentioned do DIY around the house. You know, keep yourself busy. Anything but go to the shops. I think it's so easy, isn't it, to go into a shop. And what tends to happen is you end up buying stuff you don't need. You end up buying things that you don't need.
Yeah.
So,
okay, I'm gonna
you can try that, Priscilla. But I know how tempting it is because, you know, us women, we love our clothes, don't we? And we just see something, we just have to have it. But at the end of the day, you just got to think, well, what about my house? You've got a new house now, right?
Yes.
So you need to be able to pay for that. So, you know, just try and think of that first. Okay. Thank you very much for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you. So also we're talking about budgeting as well. So that's something that a lot of people actually neglect to do. So they don't basically know how much money they've got coming in or what's coming out. So why is that so important?
They don't look at it. I think in order to be able to budget, you need to review what's coming in and also, most importantly, review what's going out. You know, you will have your essential outgoings, your rent, your mortgage, your council tax and these sorts of things. And it's only when you can calculate that and know what your disposable income is on a monthly basis that you can go out and then do your shopping and not, you know, spend it on a credit card or a store card and rack up the debt that a lot of people are doing at the moment. So it's budget.
But if you have realised that you've done your budget now, you can see that maybe it's like you are going over, your expenditure is more than your income, or maybe it's around the same. Do you have any like tips, both of you, that you could follow, that you can actually save your money or cut back in some way? Because obviously the other answer is increase your income somehow. So there's both sides, isn't there?
I mean, if it's essential outgoings, things like electricity bills, you know, there's a lot of competition out there with suppliers, so have a look at whether you are with the cheapest supplier out there. The same goes for things like BT phone bills and internet. You know, there is competition out there, and see if you can save some money by switching providers. You know, you might be able to save hundreds. In fact, you can by sort of switching providers. They want your business.
And I think as well, a friend said, an accountant said, you need to, if you've got a budget, get the cash out and just spend that. Stop using the card, because you just, you know, you just use it for everything, don't you?
Do you know I've never had a credit card?
Or a debit card or any kind of...
debit card, but with credit, I've never, because I always used to see like what you're saying, I always used to see my parents, every time they got their wage, and this was when it used to come in those little brown envelopes, right? That's how people used to get paid in the past. So I just used to see them kind of putting, okay, that's for the food, that's for the bills, that's for this. So I got used to seeing that, so sort of, and they never had a credit card. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to get one either. And I've lived like that like all my life, and I've never needed one.
That's good.
So it's like what I only spend, for example, what I have. So, and I think if you are really like you can't trust yourself with money and stuff like that, then I think I don't know, it's worth thinking maybe we shouldn't have a credit card, at least for now, until you learn how to budget. Because when you have the cash, you know exactly what you've got, and that's what you're going to spend, and that's it. What you could do, what I do sometimes, is like I put money aside and use that as like my own credit card. I've got that little savings where if I need something in an emergency, that's what I will spend, but then I'll top it up again. What do you think of that? Is that a good tip?
I mean, credit cards tend to be money that you don't have that you end up spending. You know, more and more people are not paying off their credit card balances at the end of the month. So absolutely, if you haven't got it, don't spend it, don't get it on a card.
And like the last caller said as well, you know, she really enjoys just spending, even though she's bought a house. And it's just habits, isn't it? You get into certain habits and certain feel-good factors. So it's just trying to cut it off.
And Nick, in your experience, why is it that some people can handle sort of money woes quite well, and they can get them to keep positive in that kind of time, and then others just kind of crumble in those times?
I think in any hard times, whether it's money or whether they're struggling with, you know, could be health or whatever it is, the thing that some people do really well is that they just embrace the hard times as an opportunity. Because I know lots of my clients come to me and they've lost their job, and rather than thinking sort of woe is me, victim, oh my God, my life's going to end, you know, getting really down about it, they can take this time to reflect and go, actually, this could be a really good thing. I'm going to reflect on my priorities and what's important, and just focus take advantage of this hard time.
And that's what we were talking about, wasn't it?
That's what we were talking about. And tell me more. And so, so it takes an opportunity. Someone sent me a quote the other day saying, "A smooth sea never made a skillful sailor."
That's a good quote.
It is a good quote. And so if everything's just smooth all the time, you don't really know how to handle things. But in times that are hard, it's like you can become more resourceful and adapt to situations. And some people really relish that. And I think it makes them stronger. I have to say, I was watching the tennis at the weekend, and Venus, Serena. There we go. And Serena, this time last year, she had a serious injury and surgery, and she thought she'd never make any tennis again. And now she's winner of Wimbledon in doubles and singles. And so it really is, it's when times are hard and when it's all about how you recover and staying, not just falling apart.
And it's so true that you also need to appreciate, like what you were saying earlier, appreciate what you do have. Because just because, for example, you've lost a job or you've got less money coming in, you can adapt for a while, right? You don't have to get depressed about it. Concentrate on what you do have. You have, for example, maybe you have a wonderful partner, you've got your lovely children. You can appreciate having them because you haven't lost them. They're still there for you, right? But losing a job, that's replaceable.
Yes.
You can always come back from that. You can always make money. You can start a business later on. And actually, maybe there's people that have actually started businesses because they lost a job and they thought, hang on a minute, I can do something of my own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
some of my clients, the best possible thing that happened to them was losing their job.
Really?
Yeah, they just, at the time it was hell. And then 6 months later, it's like a gift to them. So
they went on to do something else.
Yeah, absolutely. They just took a seat back and reflected on what they actually did want to do.
Yeah. And sometimes that job that they had wasn't even their dream, right?
Yeah,
it was something that kind of sometimes bad things that happen, it kind of pushes you to do something that you maybe always wanted to do because you've got nothing else to lose now, isn't it? Let's just read one more email here this is from Lisa in Southend. This is her tip. I find putting money into a savings account every month, it's set up automatically after payday to go into the account, and it's frozen. I forget about the fact that it's even part of my monthly earnings, and every year I save more and more. So there's a tip from her. So I think she's basically saying that she's not tempted to spend money that she doesn't, that she's supposed to be put on bills.
And that's fantastic if you can do that, absolutely. And it's remembering why you're doing it. It's remembering that saving is paying for that lovely holiday that you want to go on and buying all those nice things.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other? Sorry, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say that the feel-good factor of saving as well, and the positive sort of vibes that sends out. To be saving and investing in something rather than just spending is going to make a difference in lots of areas. So it's a good tip.
All right, so I've got this was something on This Is Money website, and they've put basically together, I'm not going to read all 50 because they're 50 money saving tips. Some of it we've covered, some things like, for example, clearing the credit card debt, which is what you were saying, that's something that's important that you do first. The fuel bills we've mentioned. Consider installing a water meter, it's saying here. We take our tap water for granted. And why not? The companies behind the supply exist to make profit. We pay them to supply water and have every right to accept it to throw it from our taps. But if it doesn't rain, supply runs dry and the price goes up. So you may want to consider the possibility of installing a meter. So if you have a big home with few occupants, you may be surprised to learn that you could halve your annual bill. So that's another tip. Just to go through them quickly because we haven't got long lists. Make a shopping list, right? Yeah. So, and I know as well not to go to the supermarket when you're hungry because then you buy a lot more. Go into the market as well. Now, you can get some ridiculously cheap fruit and veg, can't you? Yeah. You'd look at me like, no, I don't go to the market, I go to the supermarket.
No, I do go to the fruit market. It's so...
In the supermarket.
No, you get so much more choice. Yeah, it's brilliant.
And some exotic stuff as well, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
Consider own brand goods, sorry. So you can buy the supermarket brands like we mentioned earlier, instead of paying lots of money for the other stuff. Sell your clutter on eBay. That's always good because actually this is a twofold thing, right? Because if you want to declutter your house and be really comfortable and then also make some money, some extra cash. That's a really good idea as well.
There's also companies in London who'll come and pick up all your stuff and go and sell it for you on eBay.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, someone told me about that the other day because I need to sell loads of stuff and I just can't be bothered to just take photos and put it all. It's quite laborious.
So you just pay them like a small sum of
money?
Yeah,
a percentage or something of your overall.
There you go. That's one I didn't know. So that's really handy.
Yeah.
So if you want to get rid of clutter and make some money at the same time, that's really good. Let's just run for a couple through. I'm being told I need to end, but let me just try and get 2 more in. Learn to say no. Right, so this is actually for mothers as well that take their kids into a supermarket or somewhere and the kids screaming for things. It's not cruel to say no sometimes. Sometimes you just have to, because you have to think of the family as a whole. So I hope you've got some benefit from this program today, that you've got some help, that if you are, going through a hard time, you have, got some tips from us today, and also on the emotional side of things by keeping positive. Coming up on Wednesday's show, we'll be talking about social networking sites and how they can drive you to instant fame and instant success. So we're going to be looking at a few things there. Maybe, you know some people that have gone really popular because of social networking sites, or they're really successful in their business. So we're going to be looking more into that, and also giving you tips on how you can be more successful as well. That's going to be on Wednesday's show. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing your tips with us and coming on the show tonight.
Thank you.
And we will see you again next time on the Chrissy B Show. Bye-bye for now.
I've got a visitor in the house and she's up there on the roof. And if I creep the camera around, we'll be able to see her. Oh, there she is. She's a wonderful critter, and it's mating season, so she's out in the prowl looking for a mate. They're huntsmen and they move lightning fast. That's the way they catch their prey. I'm going to go up there and try and catch her with my best spider sense of this Chinese food container. I'll hand the camera over to my most faithful assistant to film this, and we'll see what we get. Oh, there's a great close-up of her. Look at her, isn't she beautiful? What a fine specimen. Can you see Daddy and the spider?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Daddy, careful.
Decided to get a bigger container because of the size of this one. I'll have to move really quick.